Welcome to Sub Rosa. This is Stephanie.
Sub Rosa. I'm Eugene S. Robinson.
So since this is the first Sub Rosa that we're doing, we wanted to tell you a little bit more about what it is that we're doing. Obviously, if you've gotten here, you realize it's behind a paywall, and we thank you. We thank you for supporting our work. But what we wanted to do is we've both had the experience where Eugene and I have been speaking, and I'll go talk about something on a stage, and there will be people who will wait to talk to me until after I've left the stage about something they don't want to say in the Q&A in front of a whole group.
Yep.
I've literally had people talk to me in the ladies' room about something.
Yep.
This is a segment for those kinds of questions, the kind that you don't want out in the world, you don't want your boss to possibly be listening to, just for the small group of people who have joined us inside this paywall.
Yep, that's right. I've had people do this to me at merch tables, usually before everybody, the first guy there, and the guy told me this great story. He goes like, "What do you think?" And right as I was about to answer him, like everybody rushed to the merch table, and I could just see his face kind of diminishing in the crowd. I was like, bro, sorry. You know, if it's something like this, he would have had his question answered. So,
all right. So you've got a question this time. What's the question?
The question this time is, actually, there were a few, but one of the questions, it's a guy, I'm not going to give his first name. I'm sure he's not interested in that. Well, yeah, I can give his first name. His last name, he's not interested. His name is Costa, and he still works at Meta, formerly Facebook, and they've had two aggressive rounds. He's a young guy, he's in his 20s, two aggressive rounds of layoffs. He's been there 3 years, and he is wondering if in terms of the flow of resume, does it look better to should he stay at Facebook Meta for the revival? Does that look better in terms of the flow of your resume? Or is it a smarter move for him would it be a smarter professional move for him to make the jump now?
So he's been there 3 years?
3 years. So there's a time in Silicon Valley where if you have 3, you better be owning a piece of the company, having a serious piece of equity if you're at a company to 3 to 4 years. Otherwise, it was such a go-go time in the 90s. You look like a loser if you just stayed at a company 3 to 4 years. Then it switched around after one of the big recessions where they were, the guy's only had a job 3 years. He's a job hopper. We need somebody who's going to commit to the company. So then you had to be there 5 or 6 years. So he's trying to put his finger in the air and get a sense of, I was once working for an inspirational boss, Zuckerberg, who became a not inspirational boss, Zuckerberg. Does it accrue to my professional credit to stay or to leave?
Well, and the answer that I would give him is a lot of that depends on your story.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything as long as you have a rationale for it. I think 3 years is perfectly respectable. I think 2 years is respectable. I think a year or a year and a half, if you have a reason, is also doable. I don't think anybody would notice for 3 years. And I think the other thing too is people know with these, as they are called, FANG companies, they know what it's like to work there. I mean, right? I'm in Seattle, headquarters of Amazon. I know what it's like to work at Amazon. If I saw somebody with 18 months at Amazon on their resume, I'd be like, you're the kind of person that I want to hire. If you couldn't stay at Amazon for more than 18 months, then I would be happy to have you come to work for me. So I don't think there's anything wrong with 3 years, but I really do think that it's about the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you, of course, don't ever want to give a story that is negative. You don't want to be slamming your old employer, but you can have a reason why, not aligned with my interests, even not aligned with my values, wanted to explore other opportunities. And again, I say this recognizing that you might not get a chance to say the story in words because a lot of the reviewing of resumes is done by AI. It's done by some sort of algorithm. But I don't think any algorithm is going to spit you out because you had 3 years at a large company. What do you think?
I think what was undergirding the question was this interesting idea of, I think what he's trying to decide is how the gloss that comes from working for an inspirational leader that is no longer inspirational, in terms of riding it as a wave, I think the gamble he's trying to make is Zuckerberg can pull this out. Last quarter, sports analogies that I'm miserable with because I don't know anything about sports. Last quarter, he's going to throw a long pass. He's going to pull it out. We'll be Jake. We'll be fine. And he's like, then I look, if he does that and I leave, then I look disloyal. Right. So, but if I stay and it just gets worse and we lose the game, then what am I at that point? So I think undergirding his, the Clash song, do I stay or do I go? Undergirding that is this idea of like, ultimately, what can I sell best vis-a-vis my story? And my advice to him was something that you were hinting at. Go.
Absolutely. I mean, because also I'm guessing that a guy in his 20s isn't working for Zuckerberg, right? He's many, many, many layers down in the food chain or the org chart. And I don't think that somebody like Zuckerberg isn't going to have a loyalty, disloyalty reference, because I think it's one of those things where, who was it, Maya Angelou, that said, when someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yep.
Right? We know who Zuckerberg is.
Yeah.
Right? We know that. Now, the fact that, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Mm-hmm. Zuckerberg may have some resurgence before we again recognize the limitations of what he has. So you already know who Zuckerberg is, whether the markets and their craziness decide that he is again anointed in some way for some period of time doesn't remove the central fact of his incompetence. Right? He did something good a long time ago, but hasn't been able to capitalize on it. I think there are certain people, Bezos, Musk, Zuckerberg, we know enough about them at this point to recognize, like, they may continue to get rich, they may have whatever, but there's not much there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that he also referenced one of his possible options was to go to Tesla. I was like, that's a classic frying pan fire scenario, my friend. I do not think you should make that move. You should stay where you are if those are your choices. But okay, all right, there you go, Costa. You got your question answered.
All right, so send more questions that you would like answered here to WTF@badbossbrief.com, and we will hopefully get a chance to answer them for you right here. Thanks very much. See you later.